and welcome to our first episode of how to set up VCF really from a base. My name is Tobias Barschek. I'm a partner at Comdivision, mainly in the cloud provider space. And one of my main topics, as you can imagine, is the VMware Cloud Foundation. And with me today is...
Hi guys, I'm Reinhard. I'm also a partner at Comdivision, working in the network space, cloud space, not so much as Toby, and end user computing.
Perfect. Thanks for being here, Reinhard. So what's our plan for today? Our plan for today is to really have a look in the basic ESXi setup. No, we will not do now an ESXi installation because, to be honest, this is not really quite surprising or quite interesting because just insert the ISO file, USB drive, wherever you have your ESXi, install it, and that's it from also from a VCF perspective. So also there, from a starting point, we know we need to bring up our management domain, and therefore the starting point would be that we have at least 4 ESXi hosts installed and up and running. But Reinhard, there are some, let's call it pitfalls. And in the time where I will prepare the sharing, maybe you talk a little bit about the pitfalls.
Yes, so first pitfall. In this case, it's not DNS, but it's NTP. So we need correct times. Well, let's be honest, guys. Correct time is always a hassle because if we have to correlate log files and all that stuff, so please, NTP configuration is one of the first things you configure on your hosts. Second pitfall, and that's really important here for VCF. So VCF wants to use VMNIC 0 and VMNIC 1 in our case. What we will demonstrate is that, let's say, the NICs we want to use, because they are discovered in the order the drivers are loaded. So let's assume you have a couple of 1 gigabit NICs. This driver is loaded first, so your VMNIC 0 and 1, whatever, they are in the place where you actually do not want them from a VMNIC numbering. And maybe your 10, 25, 40, 100 gigabit, what else, are VMNIC 5, 6, 7, whatever, but they are not VMNIC 1 and 0. So what we are showing to you is how to renumber the NICs. That needs to be done on the command line. There is no clicky punti GUI, we say in Germany. So command line Kung Fu is on the table today. Toby is already sharing the screen. We have prepared our text files where we are going to do this. And yeah, Tobias, let's hop into the user interface of our ESXi hosts.
First of all, maybe it makes sense to enable the service. But this is just basic stuff.
I said configure it. This means pull and enable. Yeah. No, I'm just joking. Okay, guy.
But as Reinhard mentioned, we need to go to the command line, so we need to enable SSH at least.
Yes.
Then we can accept the certificate, log in with our root password, which is hopefully defined when we have done our setup. And let me quickly change the appearance as well, that you can read a little bit more. So
I always change the color to yellow because, you know.
Yeah, but no. So
cool side information. Did you know that in your eyes that is why you see yellow the best? They have the most receptors for yellow.
Yeah. So first of all, what we would like to do, or what we need to do, basically not what we would like to do, because in an optimal case, our 2 network cards we are going to utilize for the management domain, or 4 network cards, are already ordered in the right direction. But if not, we need to paste out all of our PCI devices. And there is one important part. There's also there's always the physical device and also the logical device. So, and we need to change both of them. So we need to change the physical ordering and also the logical ordering. So let's grab out this information and paste it to our, I'm going with a Notepad++, whatever editor you're going to utilize, everything fine. And let's, first of all, what I always recommend is remove all of this stuff which is not
HBAs.
For example, as Reinhard just mentioned, all of the HBAs, because otherwise you maybe get a little bit confused with all of the stuff. So I always remove all of the
line 13
unnecessary
line
information.
8.
Yeah, and line 8.
That's it. And also, please do it synchronized, because logical and physical naming should be the same. So please take care of any typos.
Hopefully. So,
well, I am the master of typos. So
what's our plan now? Our plan now is that we would like to reorder it, and to get the real information, let's go back to our ESXi, go on networking, physical NIC. So on one hand, we would like to that our VMNIC2 becomes the VMNIC0. Okay, let's go back to our document. VMNIC2 should become VMNIC0, which means VMNIC0 should become VMNIC2. And on the other hand, we have our VMNIC4, which becomes VMNIC1. So VMNIC4 becomes VMNIC1, which means VMNIC1 becomes VMNIC4. So that's our plan. That is what we would like to achieve, that we change those orders. So, okay, let's do it.
Want to do the same table for the logical representation?
Logical as well, yeah, makes sense that you really have all of the stuff in place.
No, that's VMNIC5. You should go to VMNIC0, to line 13.
Thank you. VMNIC0, then VMNIC1
to 4. That's line 14.
And
line 14. 4 to 4 doesn't help you much.
Yeah, that's maybe a good idea, or not the best idea. So VMNIC2 becomes VMNIC0. VMNIC2 is here, and VMNIC4 becomes VMNIC1. And as you have seen, please do not trust any kind of order. As you see, they are mixed up. So please always verify if everything is fine. So, okay, then let's do it. We know that we need the bus address of our newly defined VMNIC0. Okay, let's grab the bus address and change it here. Nothing changed because, to be honest, I have already prepared it, and also we utilized it in our German video, but we will do it as well. So we go to the second one, change it to 02. And as you can see, this time it has another number because it is 02. Then we need the on port. That one. Okay, this is matching. And also the second one is matching. So then.
But it's VMNIC5. It's because we are using 0, 1, 2, and 4.
That's
and in
right.
line 20.
That's right. That's right. This was a typo from my side. So let's verify it on the physical side as well. do we have a match? No, we don't have a match. Then let's grab it. That one will become our VMNIC 0. That one will become our VMNIC 1. That one will become our VMNIC 2. And that one will become our VMNIC number 4. So, next important part here is, and I don't know why, maybe it is related to RDP, maybe it is just that the local CLI on the ESX host is not fast enough. Please do yourself a favor and do not copy all of the commandos in the same time. Really do it in a per line behavior. So copy the command, paste it, go back, copy the next command. Because from a project in the past, I have experienced here that sometimes this is not working as expected, or sometimes you get a little bit messed up with IDs and stuff like this because he cannot paste it in the right direction. So I'm highly recommend here that you really do it on a line to line base. So now we changed all of the physical. Now let's go to the logical. And 2 more. And the last one. So that's it. Next thing would be, please reboot your host afterwards, because that all of the renumbering gets applied. You need to reboot your ESXi. And hopefully it comes back. Let's have a look on the IPMI. In the meantime, we can talk a little bit of the next steps. So the next step would be, as Reinhard already mentioned, configure NTP. There is also one pitfall you should have in mind. Yeah, then NTP, and the other one is certificate. But what should you have in mind when you configure NTP, Reinhard?
Well, the time skew should not be too big. Otherwise, it takes a time to catch up, or it might not even work. Also a possibility. So look that your time skew is not too big. Again, with certificates, wrong times, also not such a good idea.
Not such a good idea, right? And from a VCF perspective, there is something I would like to add. It is just let's call it more or less just a cosmetic stuff, or just something you might can oversee. But if you really would like to have all of your checks green in the initial deployment, please ensure that you're utilizing the same NTP host on your ESXi than you are going to use on your Cloud Builder appliance. So this is something, from my perspective, it is not really a quite useful test, but he's verifying that the NTP configuration, that on one hand NTP is running, and also he verifies the NTP configuration of an ESXi. What the Cloud Builder is doing basically in the background is he grabs his local configured NTP server and verifies that the same NTP server is configured on your ESXi. So as mentioned, if you would like to have a nice looking deployment where all of the checks are green, then you need to ensure that you are going to utilize the same NTP servers than you have configured on your ESXi and on the Cloud Builder. So that's just one thing I would like to add here. And the last thing, as Reinhard already mentioned, there is something which needs to be done with our certificates because at the installation, there is always the default certificate generated, the
localhost or the local domain.
And the problem is that the common name of the certificate is localhost.local domain, and this is not what Cloud Builder is expecting. So also there is something we need to do on the command line, that we create a new certificate which is then utilize or have the right common name of our ESXi host inside. But this is something we will have a look after the reboot is finished. Let's have a look now if our host has reconfigured as expected. Oh, we are finished. Oh, host is back. Let's try if we can reach him. Oh, no, I cannot reach my ESX host anymore. Why? Reinhard, why can I not reach my ESX host anymore?
Because vSwitch 0, where our management VMK is on, is still bound. And now, when you remember the screenshot, not connected. So our new VMNIC 0 is not connected.
That's right, because when you scroll back or when you remember back to the video, we said, hey, we would like, or let me quickly ramp up our notepad file. We would like to have VMNIC 2 and VMNIC 4 to become the new 0 and number 1. Still, what Reinhard just mentioned, our vSwitch is configured to VMNIC 2 and VMNIC 4. Which is now the old one, so the old VMNIC 0 and the old VMNIC 1. So we need to change our vSwitch configuration, apply the configuration, and let's see if Blackmagic is working. Blackmagic is working, as always. So if you configure everything right, you are able to reach your ESXi. So on that part, please have in mind, when you do the reordering of your network cards, and you have no access to the ESXi, either physically or as you have seen it from my side via IPMI, please do it maybe in 2 steps. They say, okay, I only will change the first network card, wait until the host is rebooted, assign it now to the switch, change the second one. If you do it with a one shot and you reboot your host afterwards, you need to ensure that you have access to your ESXi. Which brings us to the next point. Let me quickly restart our putty session.
And while Tobias is restarting the putty session, you might have seen that he already gave his name a good host name. He also typed in his search domain because both of those things are being used at the regeneration time point when we regenerate the certificate from localhost.local domain to AT blah 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 whatever host name it was to his domain name. So please configure that also before you configure or reconfigure your certificate.
That's fully right. Let's verify that what Reinhard just mentioned. Let's log in as root and quickly issue the host name command. As you can see, I get back really my FQDN, so the fully qualified host name. Let's verify it on the UI as well. If I go to networking and if I have a look on my TCP/IP stacks and on the default stack, edit setting, as you can see, host name is configured, domain name is configured, search domain is configured. DNS entries is there. So as always, the more or less the basic stuff, but the most important part is that you really have the definition of your host name and the domain name. And what we discussed before, let's quickly have a look into it. If I have a look into the certificate, as you can see, it is called common name, localhost.local domain. And this is something which the cloud builder will not accept. So to regenerate the certificate, it is a command line based command. So we need to issue the in the SBIN the generate certificate command. Now he has generated the new certificate. And the next thing we need to do is, and this is something I would always copy paste, is restart the host daemon and the vCenter agent. So now those two are restarted. Then let's count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go back to our browser, do a refresh.
Reload.
As you can see, you get the certificate message again because we generate a new certificate. It is still self-signed, so don't expect that you get here now accepted certificate. It is still self-signed, but if we have now a look to the certificate, it has
Common
the
name is correct.
full qualified domain name in the common name in it. And that's the most important part to ensure that we really have here the FQDN of ESXi in the common name. Last but not least, as discussed before, let's quickly configure NTP. Edit NTP settings. I would like to utilize NTP, start and stop with host, and I'm going to use a public NTP service. If you have an internal one, no problem, please verify that it is really redundant and also that it has a proper time skew handling. If you go with a public one, everything fine. So that's it. I have configured NTP, and as always, after you have configured NTP, please ensure that you start your NTP service as well. That's it from a basic preparation. One thing I would like to add, or maybe not really to add, for those who have already done maybe an installation and played around with the host, also please ensure that all of your devices has an clear partition. So if you have a look, please ensure, and as you can see, I played already with the host, I have a vSAN partition on it. So what I need to do now is really to clear the partition table, so to clean up all of the stuff, because otherwise when the installation of the cloud builder starts, or when the cloud builder prepares the whole cluster and the vSAN wizard figures out, hey, there are partitions already on the disks, you will also run into an error. So please ensure as well that all of your disks are really empty and have no partition table on it. So if we have now a look into it, as you can see, there is nothing there anymore. So that's it. Reinhard, would you like to add something?
Well, you always need fresh disks. You need NTP, forward NTP, DNS backward and forward, a fitting certificate. Yeah, you also could check the partitions with VDQ on the command line, because otherwise you get error messages, like Tobias said, because disks need to be completely empty. Check that first, because otherwise they are not eligible for vSAN consumption. So from that perspective, I think we covered it all for the start.
Then thanks for your attention and see you in the next video. Next video will cover the deployment of the cloud builder. Bye.
Bye, guys.